Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal are closing in on 3 more deals worth 100 million euros. But I can confirm, as per time of recording this video, Arsenal are not close to signing a centre forward. We are not close to agreeing a fee with any club. That is as per very reliable sources. So Arsenal are working on 3 more deals. Andre Bat has been given a big package, a very big bank account with a lot of money to spend, but he's not yet close to signing a centre forward. The deals that we are about to agree are in different positions, not a centre forward. Also in this video, we'll be talking about the Rodrigo situation. It has been clarified to some extent, and right after the Club World Cup, Arsenal can go and progress on the deal. But David Ornstein has given us an update on that as well, and he says that the feeling around the air is that Arsenal want to first offload Gabriel Martinelli. They have a left winger that is really considered highly in the club, and that is Gabriel Martinelli, and Arsenal would love to upgrade, but only if Gabriel Martinelli leaves first. We're going to be discussing Martinelli, should he leave in order for us to sign another player, and what are the available options if Martinelli was to leave Arsenal this summer. Hit the like button for me, subscribe to the channel as well. It's still a very, very dark day. Of course, let's start off by remembering our brother Diogo Jota. If you're a football fan, if you have watched football since 2017, you know that he's one of the stars that have lit up our screens at Wolverhampton Wanderers, at Liverpool, and I'm not going to lie, he's one of the players that have terrorized this Arsenal team ever since he came to the Premier League. But I love Jota, and he will always be in our hearts and minds as football fans. So take a moment of silence. Let's remember Diogo Jota. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Diogo Jota was just 28. Liverpool player, professional in the Premier League. All of us know him. It is bad news. It is devastating news. It's shocking, and it's gut-shattering. So let's get into these Arsenal stories. Arsenal are closing in on 3 deals, according to Sky Sports. Arsenal believe they could be handing out another 100 million euros for 3 more deals. And the 3 deals are quite very, very expensive, but there is no centre forward signing. There is no centre forward deal among these 3 deals. And before we get into them, I just want to say this. I really hope that Arsenal are not trying to do what I'm thinking, because there is a very big possibility that Arsenal go out there and sign a right winger, and sign a number 10, and sign a centre back, and sign a left winger, and we end another summer without a centre forward. This is not me trying to be angry. This is me trying to say, if Arsenal end another season without a centre forward, we better win, and we better win everything, and we better win convincingly, because this will be getting out of hand. Now, I understand why Arsenal have not got a centre forward yet, and that should be explained in my next video. Make sure you watch it. There is a very good information on Gyökeres, on Šeško, on Watkins, and we'll be discussing that in my next video, coming out today. But Arsenal know that we came into this summer searching, and we were desperate for a centre forward. That is why we were linked with the likes of Alexander Isak. Arsenal have been linked with about 20 strikers this summer, and it would be embarrassing indeed. It would be absolutely shameful if we didn't work on a centre forward. In fact, for me, Mikel said he wants a centre forward before July the 19th. I think before you work on Eze, before you work on Madueke, before you work on Simmons, before you work on all these other deals, you've got to go out there and get a centre forward, because the manager has made it very clear that this summer he wants a centre forward. We cannot continue like this. We cannot continue working with Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. For me, if Gabriel Jesus is okay and his rehabilitation has gone well, sell him this summer. This is a summer where we can get the most amount of money, the most value from Gabriel Jesus. Obviously, he's not played a lot, but there is still value in that player. But if we go into another season and he picks up that bad injury, or maybe he doesn't pick up on that bad injury, but he doesn't perform to the levels that we expect him, then you're not going to get good money for him next summer. So if Arsenal really need to sell Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, let's do it so that we can sign a centre forward, because this is absolutely serious. So what are the 3 deals, and where are we on each deal that we are progressing on? Well, I want us to talk about the Noni Madueke deal first, because this deal is slowly creeping into the limelight. It's one of the deals that are slowly progressing. Arsenal are working on this deal without any pressure. They're not under pressure. They're not trying to be, quick, but they want to seal this deal before competition arrives because they know if Chelsea sign Mohamed Kudus, already at the moment, many clubs are looking at Noni Madueke after Chelsea signing Jamie Gittens and signing Joao Pedro. They're saying if you've signed Jamie Gittens and you're signing Joao Pedro, then maybe Noni Madueke is available. And among all the players at Chelsea, I think is the only one that would be discarded, and I would be and I would be comfortable with him coming any close to my team. Obviously, regardless of Kepa, he's now an Arsenal player. I don't consider him as a Chelsea player. But Gittens, the deal is progressing very slowly. Sky Sports German yesterday gave us a very good update on a formal bid that was sent in to Chelsea. Ever since then, we have not had anything like the bid was rejected. And I want to point you to the deals Arsenal and Chelsea have done. This is a deal that could happen due to the rapport, the relationship, and the relationship that we have with Chelsea. It's a very, very possible deal. Arsenal have dealt with Chelsea in terms of Arsenal buying from Chelsea on a number of occasions. We know what Chelsea want. We know how to talk to them. We know when to talk to them. We know how much and what their structures. We know everything. So this is a deal that could snap if Arsenal said, I want the deal to snap. But after sending in that first bid, right, there is no indication that the bid was rejected. Of course, we don't have indication that the bid was accepted, but our recent encounters with Chelsea have been like that. Remember Kai Havertz? Arsenal made a bid of 65 million. And that deal, when we made that bid, it kind of dragged on for some days, but the bid was never rejected. Do you know how much Arsenal signed Kai Havertz for? 75 million. So Arsenal really know how to negotiate with Chelsea, and Arsenal really are in a strong position on this one. Because Chelsea want to go and say Mohamed Kudus. And maybe they want Gittens, Kudus, and Pedro Neto to be their star wingers. Noni Madueke has no place at Chelsea, but he's got a place at Arsenal. And Arsenal are in a position of power here. Because this is not a player that is in top form, that is really doing very well. He's got a huge future around him, a high ceiling, but Arsenal have a lot of power in this deal. So do not be surprised at any point in time if I come and say personal terms have been agreed. If I come and say, here we go for Noni Madueke. That deal is slowly growing like a wildfire, growing underneath the forest. And before you know it, we are going to be seeing the flames high in the sky. Now, the second deal we've got to talk about is the Christian Mosquera deal. Yesterday, Fabrizio gave us a very, very important update as well on Christian Mosquera. Valencia are not trying to stop Mosquera from joining Arsenal, contrary to what popular beliefs are saying. Valencia are not trying to block the player's move. They're trying to get the money that they feel is the right valuation for their player, and if they get that valuation, the player can leave. Now, Valencia is saying we want 20 to 25 million euros. That is where our range is, and Arsenal is saying our range is 15 to 20 million euros. So there is a whole gaping gap in terms of valuation, and the difference is still very, very big. But this is the beauty about players whose contracts are running down. Christian Mosquera has informed Valencia that he wants to join Arsenal, and he has informed them that the new deal they're proposing to him is not going to be signed. He will not sign the new deal. He's not going to stay at Valencia. He wants Arsenal. And one thing comes to my mind when it comes to the Christian Mosquera deal, right? This is a deal Arsenal could do within a minute. But Arsenal just don't want to pay a lot of money on a deal that they could save a lot of money on. And it's understandable. It's really, really understandable. Like, someone was saying yesterday in the comment section that, Cossy, the Christian Mosquera deal is becoming very, very quiet. It's not becoming quiet. It is Arsenal trying to show we are not desperate. And by the way, we are getting desperate because the manager said, I want my signings in 16 days. And if he wants his signings in 16 days, and we are not even close to signing a center forward, and he wants a center forward, we are beginning slowly to become, very, very desperate. But the good thing about all this stuff is that at any point in time, Arsenal could snap on the Madueke deal, and we could also snap on the Cressy Mosquera deal. Arsenal just want to get the best. Andre Bata knows that he's got a lot of money to work with. We are talking about upwards of 350 million in terms of signings this summer, right? Of course, that is going to be funded partly by player sales. Maybe if Gabriel Martinelli leaves, Kivio leaves, Zinchenko leaves. If Arsenal could raise about 100 million this summer through player sales. So Arsenal have about 200 million guaranteed to spend, and if we can go out in the market and sell some players, we have a budget closing in to 350 million. I've done this video in the morning, and I've looked at all the players that Arsenal are trying to sign, and the amount is 350 million. So you don't tell me that Andre Bata, working with 350 million, has failed to sign Cressy Mosquera for 20 to 25 million. And also, I believe that if Cressy Mosquera was left with 2 years on his contract, Arsenal would be willing to pay more. The reason as why Arsenal saying we want to give you 15 million to 20 is they know the player's contract is out. They don't have to overpay. All they have to do is to push the player, because you could get him on a free. This is what we did with Leandro Trossard. Remember, Trossard's contract was about to end. So Arsenal told Brighton, we are either giving you, a fee that we are comfortable to pay, or we get him for free. And Brighton said, okay, his contract's running down. Give us whatever you're giving us. It's the same thing with Cressy Mosquera. Arsenal could completely signing like right now as I speak, right? But Andre Bata wants to be cautious and very careful. You also don't want to show other clubs around the market that you have a lot of money spraying around. Imagine if Arsenal signed Jean Garcia for 25 million instead of Kepa for 5 million. And then we signed Christian Nogard, let's say for 20 million. And then we signed Zubimendi for 70 million. That would show clubs around Europe that Arsenal have a lot of money. And that would mean that every single club we approach for a player would actually ask for ridiculous fees. But right now, Arsenal telling Leipzig, we're not giving you this ridiculous fee you're asking for of 83 million, like what guaranteed. We're not giving you that money. And clubs around Europe now know Arsenal have the money, but they're not just splashing that money around like idiots. Okay, now let's talk about the Eberechi Eze deal, because that's the third deal Arsenal are progressing on. And yesterday, Team News Antiques said something very interesting. He said Arsenal could complete this deal if they wanted to, just in a couple of hours. And what he was really referring to there was that this is a very, very easy deal for Arsenal to do. It's a deal that can be completed just within a couple of hours. And again, this is the same knowledge that we understand is going on here. Again, Andre Bata knows that for £68 million, Eberechi Eze is worth that money. There's no question about that. Like, if we went in to sign Eberechi Eze, how much would I be willing to pay? 60 million plus add-ons, right? Not add-ons, but add-ons, right? And Andre Bata knows, and Mikel Arteta knows as well, that that is the right valuation for this player. But his contract runs down in 2027, right? That is 2 more years on his deal. Crystal Palace know no one is going to give you 68 million next year in the summer. So instead of Eberechi Eze saying, I'm not renewing my contract, I'm not staying, and then he leaves for a free, right? Why don't we offer these guys 50 million? That's what Andre Bata has done, right? He's not trying to overly manipulate and overly anger Crystal Palace into refusing to sell. He's not going to make 30 million bids, and I hope we don't, 40 million bids, but we can respectively bid 50 million plus 5 in add-ons. That is very close to what is acceptable at Crystal Palace. Now, Palace might say, give us the whole release clause, right? And then we let the player go, which Arsenal should do as well, because we have the money and we are in that position. But we're just trying to be cautious, and we're just trying to be careful, and we're just trying to make sure that the club doesn't run into a bad situation financially. So those 3 deals could explode any minute soon, and I'll be giving you updates on them. Okay, with Rodrigo, we've got a bit of clarification from Jacob Benz and The Athletic, and these are the updates. They're saying that those close to Rodrigo are not happy with his involvement at the Club World Cup with Real Madrid. Arsenal are still keen on the Brazilian. And Jacob Benz has actually said that Arsenal view Rodrigo as a perfect fit. Real Madrid winger will hold talks with Xabi Alonso as once he comes back from the Club World Cup to clarify his future. AFC yet to learn if he is open to leave, but Real Madrid are prepared to sanction an exit around 90 million euros. Rodrigo viewed as a dream left winger target for Arsenal, but comfortable at right wing, a position he often has been deployed in at Real Madrid. So that's according to that is according to Jacob Benz. He's given us that update, and of course, the Athletic have also given us that update. I only want to imagine that Rodrigo is not playing at the Club World Cup for any other reason. But if he's not playing at the Club World Cup because of this, then he's got to leave Madrid as quickly as possible. It's because can they explain why he's not playing? They really can't explain why, he's not playing. Like, if I'm the manager, what reason do I have not to play one of the most talented players in the squad? Now, Jacob Benz, like you've seen, he says that Arsenal are willing to wait, but Madrid would be willing to sell as well for 90 million euros. This is the deal that's working in the right direction, but this is what the Athletic have said about this. David Ornstein says that regarding Rodrigo and a left winger, Arsenal always wanted to strengthen on the left, but they've got Gabriel Martinelli there. If he was to leave, then you could see them bringing in a top left-sided winger. If he's not to leave, I don't think so. We've reported of the likes of Rodrigo and Anthony Gordon. I think if Martinelli leaves, I don't necessarily think that would happen if he was to stay as well. So what he's trying to say here, David Stein, and he's absolutely right, Arsenal are not going to sign another winger, right, with Martinelli around. And it only makes sense. You have Trossard, you have Martinelli, you're trying to sign Noni Madueke. Why would you sign another winger if you have Martinelli, Trossard, Madueke, Nwaneri, and Saka? So, like Ornstein has always reported, and has been very consistent on this, by the way, for a very long time, this would require a left wing upgrade, would require a departure, and that's okay for me. That's okay. Would I sell Martinelli this summer? Yes. Where would I sell him? Where the player wants to go. I would respect his wishes where he wants to go, because we need to raise the level at this team. We need to raise the level in attack, and Martinelli doesn't. Unless Arsenal is saying we are going to sign a very versatile attacking forward like Eze. And even if Eze was signed, I can see Eze eat up more minutes than Martinelli. So if Eze, who is not a winger, for me, can eat up more minutes than Martinelli, you've got to upgrade on him. Absolutely. And another upgrade to Gabriel Martinelli could be this guy, Xavi Simons. So Jacob Benz actually saying that there is a chance Arsenal could get Xavi Simons, because he's a player they like a lot. And this is what he has had to say. He says there is an outer chance, depending on what the final price is, that this is a more left-sided, and this is a more left-sided, but Xavi Simons is one that Arsenal really, really like. The player is keen on a move to the Premier League, not to Arsenal, but to the Premier League. The challenge is that it has always been very complicated, and said it was a very complicated deal that saw him go to Leipzig. The total outlay was 80 million euros, and the guaranteed fee was 50 million euros. But if he leaves soon, a lot of those add-ons don't have to be paid. There is a window of opportunity, so I would keep a small eye on Arsenal, but I don't want to get anyone overly excited over nothing. Okay, so he says there that there is a small window where we could get Xavi Simons. And I think that window is Martinelli leaves, Rodrigo deal becomes very difficult. There is a guaranteed fee of 50 million euros to Paris Saint-Germain that RB Leipzig have to pay. So if you pay that 50 million euros and you added them an extra maybe 20 million euros, do they let this player go for you? I think so, because that is 70 million euros, and that's about 59 million to 60 million pounds. 60 million pounds for Xavi Simons. It is not an absolute steal, but it's a deal any one of us would be willing to do. Again, a moment of silence for Diogo Jota. We pray that his soul rests in eternal peace.